I'm Evelyn, and the strangest, most unexpected day of my life began the moment my stepson walked into my room. It wasn't meant to be extraordinary, at least not in that way. I had just returned from the opera with my girlfriends, still dressed in the elegant outfit I rarely had the chance to wear. You'd think evenings like that would be spent with my husband, Lucas. But for him, work always came first. His constant absence left me searching for bits of joy wherever I could find them. Lucas was a good man in many ways, a solid provider for both me and his son Noah, but his presence was something he never truly gave. He'd vanish on business trips for weeks at a time, come home briefly, and then disappear again. The house felt enormous in his absence, filled with a kind of quiet that pressed on my chest. I grew used to it, learned to move through the silence, but deep down it ate at me. That's why I found myself looking forward to Noah's return. He had just finished college and would soon be moving back in. Over the years, I had watched him grow from a shy, uncertain boy into a thoughtful, confident young man. When he visited during school breaks, the whole house seemed to breathe again. His laughter, his music, his energy filling the empty rooms. He had a way of noticing things others missed, a sensitivity that made people feel seen. Still, there had been fleeting moments that made me uneasy. A hand brushing against mine, a look that lingered a little too long, a smile that seemed to hold something unspoken. I told myself it was nothing. I was his stepmother, and he was my stepson. There were boundaries that simply weren't meant to blur. That afternoon, after changing into something comfortable, I lay down on my bed hoping to unwind. The house was wrapped in that kind of silence where every creak of the floor sounded amplified. Every sigh seemed to echo. That's when I heard the faint sound of the door easing open. My heart skipped a beat as I turned, and there was Noah, frozen in the doorway, as if caught in a place he shouldn't have been. "Oh God, I'm sorry," he blurted, his eyes darting to the floor. For a long, awkward moment, neither of us moved. I couldn't move at first. My body froze, unsure how to react. "It's fine," I finally managed to say, forcing a small, shaky smile. "I just didn't know you were coming home today." He shifted awkwardly, his hand rubbing the back of his neck. "I just got back. Thought I'd grab Dad's box cutter from here," he said, his words tumbling out quickly, like he wanted to escape as fast as he had appeared. Neither of us moved. My pulse hammered in my chest, the silence between us thick and uncertain. Finally, he turned toward the door. "I'll go. Sorry for barging in." "Wait." The word left my lips before I even realized I'd spoken. He stopped and looked back, his eyes searching mine for a reason. "You don't have to rush off," I said softly, my own voice surprising me. Maybe it was the years of quiet, the weight of being unseen in my own home. Or maybe it was the warmth of his presence filling a void I'd long stopped admitting existed. He frowned slightly. "Are you sure?" "Yes," I whispered, though my cheeks burned. "You just caught me off guard, that's all." He hesitated, then took a small step closer. The air between us seemed to change, nothing inappropriate, nothing spoken, but there was something there. A quiet current neither of us wanted to name. Still, it was comforting, having someone in the house again. Noah's presence made the silence feel less suffocating, less lonely. He studied me for a moment, concern flickering in his eyes. "Are you all right? You don't seem yourself lately." The question caught me completely off guard. I hesitated before forcing a faint smile. "I'm fine, just tired, I guess." He didn't believe me. "You don't have to pretend," he said gently. "I can tell something's wrong." His sincerity unsettled me, in the best and worst way. For years, Lucas had been blind to my quiet struggles, too buried in work to notice. But Noah did. He noticed everything. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying the moment in my head. The way he'd looked at me. The way his words made me feel seen for the first time in years. Somehow, the house didn't feel quite so empty anymore. 2 weeks later, something else happened. I had just stepped out of the... "Go," I finally whispered, my voice trembling as the weight of his words sank in. Every part of me wanted to stay composed, but the truth tore through my defenses. I looked at him, his face etched with pain and guilt, and for a moment, the silence between us felt unbearable. Noah's eyes softened. "You're stronger than you think," he said quietly. You just need to remember who you are before all this." I wanted to believe him, but all I felt was the ache of loss, of something that was never meant to exist, yet had changed everything. I turned away, afraid that if I looked at him any longer I wouldn't be able to let go. When he finally left the room, the house felt colder than it had in years. The echo of his footsteps faded down the hall, leaving me with nothing but the hum of silence and the ghost of what could never be. That night, I sat by the window long after the lights went out, staring into the dark. The stillness was deafening. For the first time, I realized that some connections, no matter how deep, are meant to be felt, not followed. And yet, even as I tried to convince myself of that, I could still feel the warmth of his touch lingering on my skin, like a secret that time itself couldn't erase. "Go," I whispered, barely able to get the word out. He reached for my hand, gave it one last gentle squeeze, and then released it. "We have to try," he said softly. "Otherwise it'll destroy everything." We both knew he was right, and yet knowing didn't make it hurt any less. After that night, the distance between us began to grow. The lingering glances faded, the conversations became shorter, and the connection we'd once shared quietly unraveled. Every time I saw him, I forced myself to bury the memories, to pretend none of it had ever happened. But the guilt gnawed at me, slow and relentless. So did the emptiness that came with losing something I could never name. Lucas never suspected a thing. To the outside world, nothing had changed. Everything looked perfectly normal. But inside, I carried the weight of a secret that would never leave me. A reminder of how fragile love, loyalty, and loneliness can make us.